A powerful emperor wakes up after 300 years to realize that his delayed resurrection was due to the lateness of his apprentice. However, he had 108 of them in his past life, and wonders which of them was late enough to cause him this prolonged death. This, he hopes to find out. The system brings up a notification that the last apprentice of its host has broken through the Saint Realm, and the Weiwu exclusive system has been activated. Then inside the coffin, a man wakes up and begins to ask himself if he has resurrected, as he has been dead for 300 years. But he suddenly wakes up. Then he begins to recount how he had been a traveler, and after many catastrophes, he had finally activated the initial system, and he found his path to becoming an emperor. And after, he began to get female sables, and the system told him that when he accepted 108 apprentices, and lets each of them realizes a complete road, so that he can take advantage of the east wind and change his fate. But unfortunately, his lifespan runs out, and he could not change his fate. The system tells the man that all his apprentices broke through the Saint Realm, and as a result of that, the host is able to change his fate within 3 minutes. And as the man wakes up, he notices the coffin, and he asks the system if it can tell him which of his apprentices broke through the Saint Realm, as he wants to know why it took 300 years for the apprentice to break through the realm. But the system tells him that it cannot tell him. Then he also asks the system when the last apprentice broke through the Saint Realm, and the system tells him that the last breakthrough was about 230 years ago, and the man gets angry. The system begins the change of fate, while the man begins to yell that he would find the apprentice that took long to break through to the Saint Realm, and he would make him suffer. Meanwhile, some people stay outside the tomb, and a man begins to say that Old Lai is awesome, and he is not bad for a late half-saint realm, and he also adds that he cannot wait to go in and see what is happening. Then as they see the wood the coffin is made of, a man tells the others that it is a big piece of Pinecone wood, as it is the best material for making high-quality saving spirit treasures and supreme magical instruments. And as they enter, another man tells them that he would open the coffin. The man uses his powers to open the coffin, and as they see the man in it, a man begins to tell the others that the dead man is having an aura of vitality. But the other man tells him that the man is dead, as he has exhausted his life as an emperor. Then a man tells the other that they should remove the supreme treasure in his mouth that was put there in order to keep the flesh spiritual. But as they are about to pluck it from his mouth, the man opens his eyes. The men become scared as they notice that the corpse is moving. Then the man in the coffin stands up and asks them what they are doing in his mausoleum. But one of the men tells him that he is the Supreme Devil Emperor, but he yells that it is not possible, as the Devil Emperor died 300 years ago, and he did not have a young appearance like the man does. Another man tells the rest that he is sure that the man is not the emperor, as he feels that his cultivation, but he is only a condensation realm brat. And another man agrees with the first man that it is true, as the man did not take long to break through the concentrating state. One of the men then points a sword at the man and tells him that he is behaving like a god, and he also asks him where the treasure is. But as he does not answer him, the man tells him that he would be rude to him. As the man runs with the sword to stab the emperor immediately holds the blade with his bare hand, and he breaks it into pieces. Then the man becomes surprised, but the emperor grabs the man on his neck, and as he strangles him, he ends up killing the man. The other man begins to wonder how he could kill a man with just a little force, but the emperor tells them that they did not run away when they had the chance. Then he takes another man and kills him by ripping his head off his body, and one of the men immediately yells that the man the emperor had killed is a strong man in the last stage divine court realm. And he also begins to wonder the kind of man the emperor is, but as the emperor walks towards them, he tells them that they are the next. Another man asks Old Lai what they should do, but before he could turn to check Lai, he sees that Old Man Lai is already running for his life, and he begins to tell them that the treasures are nothing compared to their lives, and they have to run to save themselves. As Old Man Lai runs, he tells himself that the emperor would not chase after him, but he is surprised when he is suddenly hit by a formation, and he realizes that the man may truly be the Supreme Devil Emperor. The emperor captures 2 other men, including Old Man Lai, and the men begins to beg for their lives, as Old Man Lai tells him that he is just working with the men as a part-time worker. And the emperor immediately uses his powers to kill the 2 men. And when Old Man Lai sees this, he tells the emperor that he would do anything if the emperor spares his life. Then the emperor tells him that he would spare his life if he tells him where the people who built the tomb is. Old Man Lai tells him that he does not really know who the people are, but if he can contact the genie Anbu in Yunfan City. And Old Man Li proceeds to tell the emperor that it is the intelligence organization founded by a mysterious man 200 years back, and as long as he pays a sufficient price, he would get any information from them. As the emperor begins to think about what Old Man Lai had said, Old Man Lai also adds that he would get what he wants to know, but the people there must know that he is willing to show him the way to find them. But as old man Lai begs the emperor for his life, the emperor suddenly strikes him dead. Then the system brings up a notification that the emperor should look for the lost apprentice, and he would get a reward for everyone he meets. And he becomes happy as he tells himself that it is his turn to have a good harvest. And he begins to run out of the tomb as he yells that his apprentices should wait for him as he is coming for them. Zhuge Fu, who is ranked the 36th array master in the Central Plains, instructs her servants that they should send someone to deliver a message to Lai Yushin that her home is on fire and she should come and see her at once. And she also tells them that they should prepare all the members of the team as she wants everyone in the world to know those who robbed her master's tomb. As the men leave, she begins to tell herself that she would do her best to find the secret array that would revive her master. The emperor arrives at Yunfin City, and as he begins to wonder how the city has become lively, his stomach begins to growl, and he tells himself that he has to eat before any business, as he has not eaten for hundreds of years. Then the emperor goes to a place, and he asks the man there where the best restaurant in the city is, and the man replies him that the best restaurant is Haitian Lao Restaurant, which is headed by the master chef of the restaurant. The emperor becomes excited as he begins to think about the food with chicken, and the man adds that Yunfin City is prosperous as a result of the good food, but the great master chef is in the saint realm, and she does not walk around in the world. The man also offers to sell his product, but the emperor begins to walk away as he tells himself that the great master chef may be Fan Xiaotong, who is ranked the 40th of his apprentices, and it would be a good thing if he goes to check up on her apprentices who would be his grandchildren. On getting to the restaurant, the emperor begins to check the menu, and one important guest of the restaurant orders a special popular delicacy, and the guest, named Lord Pan, begins to flaunt his wealth with the two ladies beside him. And after seeing this, the emperor also orders the same delicacy, and he pays with spirit stones. Then he also gives tips to the attendant. The emperor begins to tell himself as they bring the food to him that he would be angry if it does not taste like Fan Xintong's cooking. And as he tastes it, he becomes angry as he yells at the attendants that the delicacy is not delicious, but Lord Pan stands up to him and tells him that there is nothing wrong with the food as he also ordered the same thing, but the ladies beside Lord Pan tells him that he should not mind the emperor. Lord Pan ignores the lady and he insults the emperor for not knowing the taste of deliciousness, but the emperor requests that they should call the chef, and when the chef arrives, he introduces himself as Chef Dong Liu of the late Shenting realm. But as the chef arrives to ask the emperor if there is any comment, Lord Pan begins to say that the emperor is a kid in his early stage of the concentration realm, and he has dared to question the chef who is in his late stage of Shenting realm. Dong Liu then asks the emperor what the complaint is, and the emperor tells him all the things they did wrong regarding the process of the food, and the chef becomes surprised as he knew all the things he said. But after all the emperors complain, Dong Liu immediately kneels in front of the emperor and tells him that he is truly the supreme master. Lord Pan immediately goes to meet Dong Liu and tells him that he is not supposed to admit, as he is indirectly saying that he loves to eat garbage. But the emperor replies to him and tells him not to blame the chef because someone like him may actually like eating garbage. Lord Pan becomes angry, and he immediately uses his power to blast fire at the emperor, but he dodges it, and Lord Pan becomes angry. But the emperor holds him down, and the people begin to talk that Lord Pan would deal with the emperor. The emperor releases Lord Pan and throws him out of the restaurant with a move, but Dong Liu comes to meet the emperor and tells him not to dare Lord Pan, but he tells him that he had only abolished his cultivation base without killing him. Then Dong Liu also offers to help the emperor delay while he runs away from the city, as he has looked for the Scarlet Sun Sect's trouble by messing with one of their disciples. Dong Liu also adds that the Scarlet Sun Sect is the top power in Yunfin City, and if anyone messes with any of their disciples, they would go after the person. But the emperor tells Dong Liu that he is hungry, and if the Scarlet Sun Sect come after him, he would defeat them all. The emperor asks Dong Liu if he can see his boss, who is the master chef, but he tells him that he last saw his master about 5 years ago. Then the emperor begins to tell himself as he insults the system for giving him such tasks. Then he also asks Dong Liu if he knows where the genie Anbu is, and he tells him that he does not know where it is. Meanwhile, at the Scarlet Sun Sect, the 3 elders of the sect begins to discuss, and one of them tells the others that they would deal with the man that abolished Pan's cultivation after the 3 elders who are leading the 13th and 14th squad to the Night Emperor's tomb to seize the treasure at his back. Zhuge Fu and Lai Yushin, who is ranked 20th in cultivating the way of architecture, goes to the tomb, and Lai Yushin becomes angry when she sees that the tomb is empty. She becomes angry and she swears that she would look for her master's body. Then Zhujfan tells her that she notices that the formation has been broken too. But the two ladies prepares to fight as they see some people entering the tomb. The men enter and they begin to plan how they would take the treasures, but Zhujfu and Lai Yushin comes out and they see that the men wants to come and steal the treasures. Then they tell the men that they would kill them if they try to do anything, but the leader of the gang tells them that he has a lot of men and they should not be angry that he is bullying them. As the lady sees that the men are not relenting, they decide to attack them. Zhujfu and Lai Yushin defeats all the men, and when it remains their leader, the man begins to beg for his life, but Zhujfu immediately uses her soul-searching power to kill him. Then Lai Yushin begins to tease her that she has not grown up, as her ability to steal memories is as worse as their master's own, but Zhujfu tells her that she is trying to be more like her master. Then they decide that they should stop by at the Scarlet Sunset. Meanwhile, the emperor begins to start his cultivation, and Sumi is able to break through the concentrating stage, and when he finishes, he sees something on Yunfin City. Then he goes outside, and when he meets Dong Liu, he tells him that they should go and take a look. But when they get outside, they see a huge ship on its way to the Scarlet Sunset, and the emperor quickly recognizes it as Lai Yushin's ship, as she had made it herself years back. The emperor tells Dong Liu that they should go to the Scarlet Sunset to check the ship, and as they get to the Scarlet Sunset, Lai Yushin begins to call out on Su Yuanhao, who is the master of the sect. Then the people begins to watch as she yells at the master, telling him that he should come out, and they begins to gossip that she is about to provoke the master, who is cultivated to a saint, and the emperor immediately tells himself that he has found the first apprentice. Lai Yushin begins to tell herself that the Scarlet Sunset would be responsible for the missing body of her master, as they have entered the tomb for more than 15 times in 3 years. Then the elder of the Scarlet Sunset comes to meet her, and he tells her not to insult the Scarlet Sunset, but she tells him that he is ready to die. Then they immediately begins to fight with their swords. Lai Yushin uses her powers to attack the elder of the Scarlet Sunset, and while she makes the formation to the power, the elder becomes surprised, as he does not know who she is to possess such powers. Then he begins to think if he should run away for his life, but as he is about to run, she uses a skill to defeat him. Another elder comes to meet Yushin and tells her that he does not know that she is the one, and when he asks her what she wants, she tells him that she would let them go if they return all the stolen treasures in the tomb of the Night Master. Then the elder does not give her a suitable answer, and she tells him that she would kill the elder that is on the floor, and as she raises her sword to kill him, he tells her that she cannot kill him, because he cannot be killed by someone who cultivates through an auxiliary means. On hearing this, Lai Yushin begins to do a huge formation of her power, and the men begin to watch in amusement. Lai Yushin begins to fight with Su Yuanhao, and as the fight gets intense, Lai Yushin uses her airship to make a formation so that she would defeat Su Yuanhao and his men, but she is suddenly hit with Su Yuanhao's chain's ability. Dong Liu tells the emperor that they should be going as the fight begins to get intense, but he tells him that it is lively to watch. But as they watch, Lai Yushin begins to think of what to do, but Zhujfu comes in, and she tries to free Lai Yushin as she tells Su Yuanhao that he should not mess with her sister, but as she tries it, she notices that her powers have no effect. Then Su Yuanhao tells the ladies that he would kill them. As Su Yuanhao uses his special power to attack the ladies, the emperor steps in and tells the elder that he would not allow anyone to hurt his apprentices. Then Su Yuanhao becomes surprised, as the strange man had been hit with his strongest attack, but he is unharmed. The two ladies immediately recognize the emperor as their master. Then as they pay homage, he tells them not to greet him as they have a huge problem to face, and they obey their master to solve their problem. Su Yuanhao immediately uses the emperor's breath power, and he tries to intimidate the ladies as he tells them that he would kill them if they do not abolish their cultivation. He would blow them up along with the innocent people, but the emperor looks at him in disgust. As Su Yuanhao tries to attack the ladies again, the emperor absorbs the power and uses it against him, and he falls to the ground as the people present begin to wonder how the elder of the Scarlet Sun sect can be defeated like that. Inside the sect, the emperor of the Scarlet sect sits, and he suddenly sees a divine needle which hits him, and he falls to the ground. But as the servants and the Flame Emperor come to check him, they notice that he is trying to say something, but he is not able to say it. As he tries to tell them about a condensation realm, he suddenly dies. The Flame Emperor begins to tell himself that the Scarlet Emperor did not have a trauma, but a serious injury, and if it were not for the scarlet blood to mine her in the way of the soul, and he also begins to wonder who the Scarlet Emperor might have offended. Meanwhile, Lai Yushin and Zhujfu kneels down in front of the Emperor, and they acknowledge him as the master they were looking for, and Yushin begins to tell him that she has found an ancient immortal king's secret realm that would revive him, and she also swears that she would resurrect him. Then the emperor tells them that they should not cry again. The ladies become shocked as they hear the voice of their master, and Yushin asks Fu if she is dreaming as their master just spoke to them, and the emperor tells them that if he were to be a spirit, he would have lacked energy and dissipated. Then he tells them that he has resurrected. The ladies become happy, but the system immediately rewards the emperor for meeting 2 of his apprentices, and he also gets his special rewards for his apprentices, and he uses a whip to gift them. And as he begins to use the whip, they notices that their energy is getting renewed, but he begins to scold them for being stupid, as they would have lost if it were not for him. Then he tells them that he has to look for the other apprentices, otherwise he would be stuck with the 2 auxiliary cultivation ladies. Soon they get home, and the emperor begins to think of how he would get all of his apprentices back, but Lei Yushin begins to apologize to the emperor that they are sorry that they could not take care of their sisters. Yushin immediately begins to tell the emperor about a female apprentice named Taliban, who is in the central Yuan domain in Luogan, and after an incident with the starry obsidian Holy Land, and he instructs them that they should head for Luogan City. 3 days later, the emperor completes his cultivation, and he tells himself that it has taken him 3 days to finish cultivation, and it is too slow. And as he talks to himself, the 2 apprentices begin to tell each other that their master has started versatility again. The following day, while eating, the emperor asks an attendant if he knows anything about the Taibei Sword Villa, and the attendant asks if he is planning on joining the Taibei Sword Villa's martial arts with wine. Then the emperor asks the attendant what it means, and he explains the incident that had led to the birth of the martial arts with wine. The attendant also adds that it is a pity as the sword techniques of the villa is starting to fade. Then Lei Yushin becomes angry, and she yells at the attendant, and after she had calmed down, she immediately apologizes to her master for being aggressive, and the emperor tells the attendant that he would be good for a wake-up service. The emperor goes to the Taibei Sword Villa for the martial arts with wine, and when he gets there, he drops a fine wine in a good bottle, and everyone were fascinated with the way the bottle is, which shows that wine is good. Then the emperor sends the man in charge to their master that he should deliver 2 words to him, and as the man goes with the wine, Zhu Fu and Lei Yushin begins to tell their master that they want to taste the wine. A lady practices her sword, and when she finishes, she takes a bottle of wine to drink, and her disciple comes to tell her that she is drinking too much, but she dismisses the disciple, and the man walks in with the wine. But when he gives her, she immediately notices that it is an immortal wine. Then the man tells her the 2 sentences the emotional had sent him. On hearing the words, the lady immediately jumps outside to meet the person who had sent the wine and message. And when she meets the emperor and his apprentices, they are all wearing a disguise, but she feels familiar around them, but she has no clue of who they are. The emperor then tells her that he has come for the exchange for goods, and he tells her that at the swords competition, they should strike a deal, and she accepts his offer. Later that day, Teba comes to meet the emperor, and she reduces her cultivation level based on his request. Then the emperor begins to tell himself that it would be easy to teach her. Taibei and the emperor begins to fight with Taibei's cultivation lower than that of the emperor, and when they begin to fight, Taibei loses at the first round. Then the emperor tells her that she should never underestimate her opponent on the battlefield, and the second round, they begin to fight again, and Taibei uses her special sword skill. But the emperor sees all of her moves, and he counters everything, and she loses again. The third round, the emperor tells Taibei that she should increase her cultivation to his own level, which makes Taibei really angry, and before she attacks, she uses the second part of her special move to attack the emperor. But still he defeats her, and after defeating her, she admits that she has been won over. Then the emperor vanishes with his apprentices. Taibei notices that the people are gone, and she tells herself that she has been deceived, but she suddenly begins to feel that her cultivation base is reducing drastically. Taibei suddenly sees that the people did not go, but instead she is being held down by a formation. And as she tries to free herself, she sees that all her efforts have been put to waste as she is not able to fight back. The emperor holds her down with his power, but she begins to kneel, and her apprentice Channer meets her, but she is taken by Zhu Fu and Lei Yushin. Then the emperor tells himself that he would move to the next stage to teach her, and when he tries to attack her, he insults her master, but she does not take the insult. But as she wants to attack the emperor, he decides to teach her a lesson. On seeing that her sister is able to get hit, Channer goes to meet her sister to help her, but as she wants to attack the emperor, he tells her that he is only trying to help her sister. But Taibei stands up, and she sees some men from different sect, and they came to find her, but as they see her in the lowest cultivation base, they decide to take advantage of it. But Taibei suddenly stands up, and she begins to fight the men, and they are surprised as she is able to use some skills because to the level of her cultivation. After fighting with the head of some sect, Taibei goes to meet the emperor, and she asks him who he is again, and this time, he opens his mask and tells her that he is her late master. After seeing that it is her master, Taibei begins to kneel, and she tells him that she did not know that he is the one because of his disguise. The men from the other sect immediately kneel for the emperor as they notice the kind of power Taebai possesses not to talk to her master, and they apologize for their behavior. Lai Yushin also explains the plan of the master to teach her, so they did not interfere in it, and Taebai goes to meet the emperor to ask him for a favor that her young sister, who is more like her apprentice, would follow them to go and see the secret realm of Forest Fall, and the emperor accepts to take Shanner along. Later that night, the system upgrades the emperor, and he gives him new powers, but as he uses one of it, the whole building becomes covered in thunder, which makes the ladies come out of their room to observe what is going on, and soon they realize that it is their master. The following day, the emperor tells Taebai that she should get in new clothes, and as she goes there she sees that her master is naked, but he is only covering his laps, and she becomes scared as he tells her that he would not harm her. Shanner brings the clothes, but as the emperor tries to play with her, they fall on each other, and the other two apprentices come in and see them in an awkward situation. But soon they prepare to leave for the spirit realm. Taebai and the emperor takes the airship, and they get to a place where they have to walk to the entrance of the spirit realm, and as they begin to walk, some men from Tianchi Holy Land then asks Shanner if she is alone, and they offer her a token which the emperor collects from their hand, and he turns to leave as Shanner becomes surprised. The emperor and Shanner begins to go, and the emperor begins to explain a lot of things regarding the spirit realm, and he also adds that the token given to her is a tracking device which can be used to kill or defeat them, and Shanner becomes sorry, and she tells the emperor that she would listen to him. Soon they get to the entrance of the spirit realm, and people begin to talk about how the spirit realm works, but the emperor begins to think of what to do, and he realizes the reason Shanner was given the token was for the Tianchi Holy Land people to kill her in the spirit realm. A few minutes later, they begin the competition, and immediately the emperor uses his power to distract the rest of the members of the competition. Then he takes Shanner and runs in, but a member of the Tianchi Holy Land tries to stop them, but the emperor uses his power to make a fog. The other people outside the entrance begin to think of how they would capture the two people that entered, as they have defiled the Holy Land. The emperor and Shanner begin to walk inside the forest, and Shanner begins to wonder the kind of person the master is, but he asks her if she is scared, and she tells him that what they did have offended the people of the Holy Land. The emperor then tells her that she should not be bothered about it, and suddenly they see a giant spirit snake, and Shanner immediately clings onto the emperor, and he asks her why she is scared, as her ability can easily kill the snake, but she tells him that she is scared of snakes. Then he tells her that killing the snake would be her first mission. The emperor and Shanner stays on a spot as the snake curls up its head. Then Shanner stands and says that she would kill the snake, and she immediately uses her skill to kill the snake, and she tells the emperor that she is amazing, but he uses his own powers to kill the snake completely. The emperor then pokes the eyes of the giant snake monster, and he gives her the energy core, and he tells her to concentrate her powers on it, so that she would reveal its mystery, and as she does as he had told her to, she immediately levels from the 6th level of Tongshuan realm to the 7th level, and after she thanks the emperor. As they are walking, they suddenly hear a voice calling for help, and the emperor tells Shanner that she should go and save the person, but she asks if it might be a trap for them. Then he tells her that she has killed monsters, so it would not be a problem for her. As they move closer to the place where the person is, they suddenly see a lady on the floor, and the emperor immediately uses his power to attack the person, and she dodges it, and she tells him that his mind is dark. Then Shanner immediately recognizes her as the elite of the Starlight Holy Light. The emperor then tells the elite that it is not proper for them to sneak an attack on two people with low cultivation, but the lady replies him that she would only use one of her hands to kill them, but the emperor insults the people of Starlight Holy Land, which provokes the lady, and all of them immediately attacks the two of them. The emperor then asks Shanner if she knows how to do the 9th sword style, and she tells him she can, but the members of the Starlight Holy Light continue to attack them. The emperor takes Shanner up in the air, and he tells her that he would show her the last sword techniques, and when he does it, the members of the Starlight Holy Light becomes surprised as he can do the technique with his level, but he immediately uses the power and aims it at them, which makes them all dissipate, and the emperor begins to wonder if that is all. The young master asks Shanner if she is feeling scared, and she becomes surprised that the young master would still care about her, and she tells him that she is not scared, and as long as he is around she will not be afraid. He then tells her to dispose of the corpse, and she asks her master to do it as she is really scared of the corpse. He then asks her if she has any questions, and she tells him that she has a question. She sees that he does not have any pity, and her master begins to think that she will be like a waste face if she does not practice well. A few moments later, She tells her master that she has collected all the tokens and the cards, and he tells her that there is nothing else as the aftermath work is pretty good. He gets up and thanks her for her praise and tells her that as long as she has a good heart, all the aftermath of the work will be transferred to her. But he tells her to keep working hard. She tells her master to listen to her explanation as she does not mean that, and goes after him. She looks at the master's system, and she asks him how there are many green spots, and he tells her that the Tianqi Holy Lord has shaped their tracking mark with the other two holy lands. Shanner sees it as unacceptable, and tells her master that they are really shameless, but he tells her that it will help them a lot. Shanner becomes surprised, and he tells her that it is time for the hunter and the prey to change positions. Some group of men begin to search for a target, and according to the mark, the target is in the hole of the tallest tree, and he sees it as a good place to hide. Their leader warns them to be careful as he is very evil, but his followers tell him that he will not be able to kill all of them, no matter how evil he is. They decide to split up as the elders have decided to take back their bodies. They suddenly see a card and they plan to retreat, and they begin to wonder how he knew they were coming. They step on a trap, and Shanner immediately drops down and takes all of them out and thanks her master for the formation given to her. The young master tells her not to deal with the corpse, but she should just search the things instead. 2 minutes later, Shanner carries all the treasures from the bodies and begins to think about learning the formation her master gave her, but he tells her that it does not fit her and she should not bother learning it. She sees that her master is good at everything, but has a long mouth and he is too straightforward. He immediately tells her to hurry up as the next one is coming. Shanner becomes surprised and asks her master what is next. He tells her to make good use of the spar to increase her cultivation base, as once her cultivation base is high, everything can be understood. She agrees and sees why he could mentor her sister, as the anticipation is too scary. Suddenly another group arrives, and they begin to ask if anyone is inside the tree. They go into the tree and realizes that they have walked into a trap, and they plan to withdraw, but the master sends Shanner to take care of the men as they seem to be having fun at their hunting adventure. Shanner takes them out, and within 3 days, they were able to take 76 secret realm tokens, and she tells her master that she is willing to look for the remaining 24 pieces. He tells her not to be in a hurry as she has to use energy crystals to build her cultivation level. He tells her that they will look for the remaining 24 after her cultivation level has improved. Shanner agrees and begins to cultivate to improve her cultivation level. 4 days later, Shanner and her master successfully grabs 100 tokens, and she begins to think of the kind of treasure they can get as soon as the secret realm is over. She also asks her master if he thinks the token will work, and he tells her that he can give it a try. Her master then begins to use the tokens and suddenly discover that something is wrong. The young master, after a lot of thinking as to what might be the matter, immediately sees that he might have triggered a certain mechanism to make the secret realm end early, and that is why the force of the rules sent them out. He sees that the consequences are unbearable and immediately asks the system how he can leave the secret realm quickly, and the system informs him on how he can go about it. The young master immediately tries to ignore the rewards and begins to look for a way to save her, and he immediately opens up a portal so that she will be able to go through. Shanner immediately lands at the place where all the tokens owners are, and they immediately recognize her. The half-emperor immediately grabs her by her neck and asks her where the young master is. She tells him that he is still in the secret realm, and she immediately tells him that her sister is half-emperor. He then plans to kill her and take care of her half-emperor's sister. Shanner tells him that her sister is the Kai Taibai and the owner of the Taibai Sword Village in Logan City and the half-emperor Peak Realm. She also tells him that her sister's master came to the secret realm and just broke into the realm of the emperor. The half-emperor suddenly becomes surprised on hearing about who her sister is and hearing about her master. The people around inform the half-emperor that what she has said is true, and he asks Old Mu what he thinks about and asks him if what she said is true. Suddenly, a member of the Logan City immediately tells him that what she said must be true, and he tells him that everyone knows about it. They inform him about the 3 consecutive stories in Logan City, and they all came from the Taibai Sword Villa. He immediately drops her and realizes that he would have made a big deal if he had killed her, and the half-emperor would come for revenge. He immediately asks her what her relationship is with the boy she was with, and she tells him that he is her brother. She begins to think about what her master said to her in the secret realm, as it will not be easy to deal with the emperors, but she sees that the half-emperor will not do anything to her, and she sees that she has to wait for her master to come out. Back at the secret realm, her master is trying his best to come out of the realm, so that he will also protect her. He asks his system how long it will take and realizes that it will take a whole day, and decides to go in after all, seeing that the girl might be in danger. He makes a desperate gamble and tells the girl to wait for him. Suddenly, the portal opens up in the real world, and they begin to wonder who is planning on coming out of it. The half-emperor begins to wonder what is going on and realizes that the girl has disappeared. Mu informs him that she must have slipped away, seeing that everyone was distracted. Becomes angry and tries to shoot at her through the portal. She sees the beam and dodges the attack, making a miss, and she falls to the ground. She realizes that she is weak as she has tried her best to escape, but she was caught. She promises to practice as long as she can escape. She suddenly sees her master, and he picks her up and tells her to practice hard. She asks him if he has come out of the realm, and he sees the mark on her neck and asks her who did it to her. She tells him that as long as he is there, she is safe, and she sees how warm and comfortable he is. He immediately takes her to the spacecraft and tells her to inform her sister and the girl to use the energy crystals to improve their strength as soon as possible and hands her the ring. She puts it on, and he immediately leaves her in the spacecraft. She sees him and asks him about himself, but he tells her to go back as he will not be able to fight with all this strength. The craft takes off, and suddenly, the half-emperor comes into the realm, and he begins to use his powers to try and stop the half-emperor. Shanner watches from above and thinks to have her sisters come and help him once she gets back to the Taipei Sword Villa. The half-emperor sees that his cultivation has increased, and he only asks the emperor if he bullied Shanner. He admits to being the one and begins to mock him. The master becomes angry and immediately uses his ability to take away his powers at once from him, and the half-emperor becomes very surprised and begins to wonder how he is able to do that. He immediately ties up the emperor and slams him on the ground. Some of the emperor's followers come in to rescue him, but he tells them to wait until it is their turn. The emperor tells him to let him go if he truly has the guts, but he tells the emperor that he does not have the guts. The emperor immediately orders Mu and Chen to get him and tells him that even if he dies, he will not let him go as a ghost. Mu and Chen try to grab him, and they see that he has placed a barrier to block them from stopping in. They begin to try and get into the barrier, but they see that they cannot break through it. The half-emperor sees that the young master had so many opportunities, but he did not kill him. He sees that he is the half-emperor of the Tianqi Holy Land, and if he gets killed by the young master, it means war. Meanwhile, Mu and Chen begin to get tired, seeing that they have tried all they could to break the barrier, but it is all to no avail. Wu tells them that he cannot kill the half-emperor no matter how hard he tries, as the spirit of the half-emperor cannot be easily wiped out. The young master immediately draws out a sword and immediately cuts the head of the half-emperor. They'd all become surprised, seeing that he actually killed the half-emperor, and they begin to wonder if he is not aware that it will have dire consequences. The spirit of the half-emperor comes out of his body, and he sees that his spirit could not escape from the barrier. They become surprised that the barrier can even trap a soul, and they become surprised. The spirit of the half-emperor begins to tempt him, telling him that unless he can get to the Saint Realm, he cannot harm him. The young master becomes angry and immediately uses his weapon to hit him away, and tells him that he is so noisy. Mu and Shen then try to reach an agreement with him to try to tempt him to lower the barrier, but he tells them that he is not stupid, as he sees that they are trying to deceive him. He becomes angry and destroys the soul of the half-emperor, leaving them surprised. Mu begins to see that someone from the Tongshuan realm can actually kill a half-emperor, and they see that if he grows up, it will definitely be a problem for the 9 holy places. Mu sees him as a man that holds grudges and immediately asks him if he killed all the people that their Starlight Holy Land sent to the secret realm. He laughs at Mu and tells him that he is just reacting, and he tells them that he is afraid that their half-emperor's brain is a little slow, seeing it took them long to realize. They become very angry at him, while he continues to toss the coin, and he tells them that there will be a lot of good things, seeing that he is the half-emperor. They become more furious, and immediately his system notifies him that the black coffin barrier will disappear in 90 seconds. He decides to give them 1 minute so that they will run away, seeing that his black coffin will soon disappear. They ignore him and tell him that as soon as the barrier drops, they will kill his, as they do not believe he is from Tongshuan realm. The black coffin begins to count down, and some of the members of the Red Scarlet begin to leave while the rest remain. The young master tells them that he actually intended for them to live, but he did not expect them to act so insensitive. The black coffin immediately shuts down, and they immediately jump on him. But he immediately uses his powers to activate the thunder penalty to weaken them, and Mu begins to wonder what kind of magic he is doing, and he is afraid that the Great Emperor's blow are not so terrifying. They immediately begin to see why he killed the Great Emperor, and why he is so confident, because of how powerful he is. Mu sees that he is really terrifying, and sees that he is really strong, and he should not be troubled. The young master suddenly becomes weak, as he has used all his energy to scare them off, and he sees that he cannot use the slightest spiritual power, and he notices that he cannot move. He also sees that there is no aura in the barren space, and the physical recovery will be postponed. He begins to look for a way to get out from where he is so that he will find a way to absorb the spiritual energy of the outside world to recover. He tries to absorb the space and sees that there is not much spiritual turbulence to absorb, and he can only rely on recovering from the spirit stone. After one day, Shanner begins to land and her sisters see that it is not right, as it has only been 8 days, and they thought it would be only 10 days. Suddenly there is silence, and Shanner immediately calls out to her sister and begins to knock at the door. They begin to wonder where the young master is, and Shanner tells them that the door was locked by him, and they see that he must be in trouble. They open the door, and Shanner tells them that it is all her fault, and she begins to cry. Her sister tells her to stop and narrate how it all happened, and she tells them all that happened. Suddenly, Shanner's sister becomes angry as they dare to touch her sister and her master, and she plans to go save him. Shanner's sister asks her if he said anything to her while she was leaving, as he will surely leave a trail for her, so that he can be found. Shanner immediately remembers and gives her sister the ring that their master asked her to give to her. She tells them that they were instructed to use it to cultivate and wait for his return. They'd all become surprised at what their master had said, and they begin to wonder if they will be disobeying him if they go to save him. The eldest sister begins to tremble and tell them that if they will be scolded, they have to try and save him. They immediately see a dark hole and begin to think it will be their master, as he will be using a forbidden technique. Shanner looks down at it and sees that it is very scary, and immediately returns back to the ship. They all begin to argue and wonder if they should continue or go back, as the master has ordered them to do. They begin to argue, and they finally decide on listening to his words, thinking he went for a walk, seeing he just resurrected. The young master continues to absorb the stones in the Tanchi half-emperor's ring, and sees that the injuries in his body have only recovered 1/10. He begins to think of another way to get out of the turbulent space, and sees that he cannot waste his time in such a place, seeing he just resurrected. He immediately tries to use his powers to leave the place, and he sees that he is far from the ground. He tells himself not to panic, as he will only suffer a little injury, as he still has a little strength in his physical body. He falls down to the ground and sees that he is seriously injured, and he tells himself that he will keep trying if he finds a way to rest and recuperate. In the next 2 days, he sees that he is able to sit up, as he has started to heal up, and he suddenly notices a lady being chased, and he sees that she is wanted in the Hall of Humanity, and he begins to wonder if it could be the girl he has been looking for. She continues to escape from the men, and she tells herself that if she dies, she will not drag the chairman with her. The young master immediately calls her and promises her that he will make sure she does not die. She immediately switches back her course and goes to meet him. The young master asks her about the Hall of Humanity and asks her if she knows Bei Yuling. She tells him that she knows him, as he is the founder of the Hall of Humanity and the greatest healer of all time. Suddenly, the men coming after her immediately stop and begin to tease her, calling the young master a small boy and saying that he will not be able to save her. She hides behind him, and he gives them a phrase, and they tell him that he will not be able to save her with his crippled body, and he asks them if they do not think that someone in the sky is looking at them. The young master begins to use thunder to strike them down, one after the other, and they all try to run, but he immediately gives them a lesson not to doubt it next time when they see a ghost, and he uses the lightning to strike the last of them. The lady becomes surprised because he is weak, and he is able to take down 3 divine court realm experts. She introduces herself to the young master and thanks him for saving her life. The young master then asks her to tell him everything about her chairman in detail without missing a word, and she agrees to it. Lake Swan sits him down and begins to tell him all about her chairman and how he became the great healer, and the young master begins to think about something and suddenly gets distracted while she is telling him the story. She realizes that his attention has been divided and immediately calls him back, but he only tells her to continue her story of everything she knows about the chairman. She tells him about how the second son of the Tianqi Holy Land has asked the Tianqi Saint King to let the chairman marry him, and she informs him that the wedding is in 15 days. She tells him that the chairman once said to some of her confidants that even if she died, she will not marry to Tianqi Holy Land. The young master becomes angry at how the Tianqi Holy Land had acted and plans to send them a gift in the next 15 days. He sees that they have trapped his apprentice, and they want to marry her off in the end. He tells Tuan that he just arrived in Chongtu domain for 2 days, and tells her that her chairman was his close friend, and when he hears this, he gets angry. He immediately asks her what her level of medicine is, but she gets up and tells him that she dare not say anything else, but she can save the other party no matter how injured the person is. The young master then asks her to take a look at him, and she agrees, and he notices that she is the nanny. She notices that his body is too bad, and she tells him that there is a treatment for him. He tells her the type of treatment she plans on using, and she becomes surprised. He asks her how many days it will take, and she informs him that it will take 7 days to treat him. The young master tells her to begin his treatment and sees that he will heal in 4 or 5 days, and sees that since Xiaonizi is captured by the Tianqi Holy Land, there will still be some of his disciples in the prison. He sees that 15 days are tight, but it is definitely enough to go crazy. Xuan then asks him to undress so that she can continue his healing, and he sees that he is not going totally naked, seeing that she was afraid he might take off his underwear, and she begins his treatment. 2 days later, outside the Tianqi Holy Land Palace, the young master goes to spy on the Tianqi Holy Land and begins to recall everything Lake Xuan told him about the palace and the location of where her chairman is, as he has come to rescue her. He then decides to walk through the front door, as he does not see the need to go wild, judging from the information provided by Xuan. The guards ask him who he is and ask him what he is looking for in the palace without a warrant. He brings out a token and shows it to them, and they become shocked, and he immediately grabs them by their necks and immediately brainwashes them and takes them to his space. The guards begin to wonder where they are, and he tells them that they are in his space, and he tells them that they will answer to the questions he asks them. They become angry and begin to tell him that he has no right to ask them questions. The young master immediately uses his whip to lash them, and they bow before him after noticing the daring stare he has given them, and promises to tell him anything he wants to know. He then tells the guard to tell him everything he knows about the Emperor's transformation pond, and the guard agrees to tell Hai all he wants to know. The guard tells him about the pond and informs him that if he is planning to steal it, he will be caught, as it is not possible. The young master sees that the news of the half-emperor's death has not gotten to them, and he decides to borrow his identity. He assumes the form of the half-emperor and proceeds into the palace. On his way in, he hears a voice from behind him asking him why he came back, and begins to wonder if he had a good harvest. The young master sees that if he ignores him, it will be bad for him, and goes ahead to ask him what he is doing out since it is late. He tells the young master that he has been waiting for the day he will get to swim in the Emperor's pool for a day, seeing he has gathered 100 years of credit. The young master sees that he is going into the Emperor's pond, and he tells him that it is good. The man immediately notices something off about half-emperor Yan, and the young master tells him to go to the pool as he has something to do. The man bows and sees that he has disappeared, and sees that he is weird, and he begins to wonder when he will be able to have such strength as the half-emperor. Later that night, he goes to practice at the Emperor's pond, and he uses his points to get through the door, and he becomes qualified to enter. The door opens up, and he begins to take off his clothes, seeing that every minute is precious to him, as he has waited a long time to go into the pond. He suddenly falls down and rolls into the pond, and the young master comes out from him and sees that he would have no one been able to come into the pool if it weren't for him. He sees that there will only be a few people coming to the pond, and sees that it is not the best time to carry out his plan. He sees that it is a holy land, and if there is any abnormality, it will attract the emperor. After one day, the guards come in to inform the other masters that his time is up and he should leave. The master agrees and puts on his clothes and leaves the pond. The guards begin to inspect the pond, and he sees that he has to be careful and cautious. 2 hours later, the guards leave the pond, and the young master goes into the pond and begins to absorb the water. He sees that cultivating in the spiritual liquid, the progress is enough to be several times the progress of the outside world. He also sees that there are traces of mysterious power, like the power of law. He sees that since the energy level is high, there will surely be greater energy below. He immediately remembers his apprentices, and he begins to decline slowly into the pond so as to absorb more of the energy. The young master suddenly notices the water pressure and sees that he will be crushed into a meatloaf if he goes out of the water. At the Tianqi Holy Land at the Heartland, Linger tells the master that she would accompany him and asks him if he is lonely below. She tells him that she wants to find a way to resurrect him, but she cannot wait for that time, as she will have to worry about the elder sisters, as if they get hurt, no one can heal them. The young master begins to wonder what would have happened if he was with her, and continues to sink to the bottom. He sees the real treasure of the emperor below the pond, and he begins to wonder how he can put it into the deserted space. He sees that if he goes out, he will be squeezed by the spiritual pressure. He begins to think of what he can do and immediately comes up with an idea. He tries to use his thunder ability and sees that the hardness of the surrounding rocks have changed due to the existence of the treasure. He applies more strength to his lightning, and he sees that he is able to reveal the treasure after only a little amount of lightning. He sees that he has to stay at the bottom of the pond for 2 days so as to complete what he came in for. He continues his cultivation at the bottom of the pool, and he sees that no matter what happens, no one will be able to know what is happening in the pond because he is at the bottom. 2 days later, he sees that the cultivation has reached the divine court realm, and he notices that the speed is fast as it has never been heard of before. After so much cultivation, he tries to destroy it, and he sees that after he has successfully taken the treasure away, the spiritual presence at the bottom of the pool has changed, and he immediately jumps out from the pond. He begins to absorb all the water from the ponds, and the following day the guards come in and notice that the pond is totally dried up. The guards sound the highest alarm, and they all begin to wonder what is going on in the Holy Land. The people in the land says that it is a first that something like that will be happening in a very long time, and they begin to wonder what is going on. The chairman becomes happy and tells them that they should cancel the marriage. Meanwhile, the emperor becomes very furious at his guards and begins to ask them how it happened, and the guard begs for his life and tells him that they do check the pond every day. The emperor then asks for the management record of the past month, and it is handed to him. He sees that the last time the pond was used was 3 days ago, and he tells them not to panic as the thief is still there. They become surprised at what the emperor says, and the emperor orders them to lock down the entire city, and they must not let anyone out, not even a single particle of dust. The young master sees that he underestimated them, and he will have to be more careful with the gift-giving plans in a few days. The young master uses his ability to look around, and he sees that the people of the highest level of the Saint Realm are present, and he sees that he is not going to be polite. He suddenly appears and takes out one of the cleaners and hears someone coming towards his direction. He immediately takes the form of the cleaner that he has taken out so as to deceive the other cleaner coming towards the corridor. They then proceed to the third underground floor, and the cleaner begins to tell him how to go around the palace and how he will clean. He suddenly sees a door, and the other worker tells him that they are not allowed to go there as it is filled with sinners with serious sins and heinous crimes. He tells them that they are still useful, that is why they were not banished, and he begins to tell him how he would remove the seal and decides to take a rest and leaves it all to him. He immediately changes back to his normal form and goes to unlock the door using the methods told by the cleaner. He goes in and sees that the cells are several meters apart, and he decides to go on with his plan as it will only make noise and will not cause attention seeing he is in the third floor underground. He sees a prisoner from the prison and requests for his ability and strength and promises to release him if he feels good about him. The prisoner decides to stall and he decides to leave. The prisoner calls him back and tells him about himself, and he stops to listen to him. The young master immediately releases him as he will be useful to him, and he tells him to serve him for 10 years, then he will set him free. The old man agrees to his offer, as it is better than staying in the prison, and the young master sees that his hatred for the Holy Land is deep. He sees that he has to remove the sealing spell from his body, so that he will be able to use his power. He immediately removes the spell, and the old man bows before him, and the young master promises him that after 10 years he will be set free. He breaks his chains and gives him a barrel from the water from the pond, so that he will be able to regain his strength. The prisoner becomes surprised at how he was able to get the water, but the young master tells him to use it, and if it is not enough he will give him more. The prisoner then decides to show him others in the prison that will help him on his plan to stop the Holy Land. Every prisoner in the prison begins to wonder how he got out and how he was able to regain his cultivation, and they begin to beg him to teach him how he was able to do it so that they can get out of the prison. The elder tells them to forgive him as he is under a new master, and he continues to follow his master's orders. The young master begins to look for the chairman and sees that something is not right, as she is not in the prison. He immediately asks the elder and he agrees to follow him to the secret floor thinking she will be there. A few minutes later, they arrive at a wall, and the young master uses his powers to unravel the secret wall, and the elder begins to tell him of the person trapped behind the door, informing him that she caused a lot of trouble for the Holy Land, and the young master immediately ordered the elder to open the door and becomes surprised at what he saw. The young master immediately asks her how she got inside the prison, but she tells him to get out as she will raise the entire Holy Land if she has to. She immediately looks up and realizes that it is her master, and she immediately jumps on him and hugs him, seeing that she has missed him for long. The young master frees her and asks her to tell him how she got into the prison, seeing they still have enough time. She tells her master that she volunteered to get in, and he becomes furious at her. She begs him to listen to her explanation, and he accepts, and she begins to tell him everything that made her see herself in the cell. She apologizes to him, seeing that he is angry with her, and she promises to listen to him and not make the mistake again. He accepts her, and he sees that he has enough power and plans to keep it till the day of the wedding. She informs her master that she could still cultivate despite the fact that they sealed off her power, and she managed to harvest the souls of the 4 half-emperors that died in the land. The young master immediately scolds her and tells her that it is not worth risking her life for. She then asks him how he got into the prison, and he gives her a brief account of how he got into the prison. She becomes angry, but the young master hands her a bucket of water from the pond and tells her to break through the half-emperor realm. She agrees and begins to do as her master has told her, and the young master sees that he has to be strict with her. They begin to leave, and the young master then plans to head to the Tanchi shrine next with the gifts he has planned. 7 days later, at the event, the young master arrives together with his 2 servants and asks the guard if they will welcome him to the event as they plan to witness it all. The guard agrees and welcomes them in. The girl they release then suggests they take action immediately if they want to take Ling away. The master tells her to take it easy and wait for them to all arrive, so that they will kill them all once and for all. She tells her master that they have great emperors, and he tells them that there is no need to be scared of them, as they will soon become great emperors one day, seeing they have strong powers. Suddenly they notice that the 3 great emperors have arrived, and then the elder informs his master about the traditional rite of the Tanchi. The wedding begins, and the young master immediately comes in and tells them that the bride is his. He sees her master, and he tells her that she must have suffered, and she immediately hugs him, telling him that she has missed him all day and night. The emperor becomes angry and tries to attack the young master for trying to spoil his wedding, but the young master blocks the attack, and everyone in attendance begins to flee as they notice that her sisters have all come to aid their master in his fight. The young master becomes happy on seeing that they are all in attendance and plans to unravel their gifts to them. The emperor immediately gives everyone who does not want to get hurt 10 seconds to leave before the fight begins. The people begin to run away from the event, and the emperor begins to launch his attack on them. The girls begin to block his attack from getting to their master, and he continues to attack them, but one of the girls tells him to freeze as she plans to kill his son. The emperor sees that she is from the prison and tells her that she cannot walk out alive if she kills his son or holds him hostage. The young master tells him that there will be no need to hold him hostage and quickly uses his lightning power to kill his son. The emperor uses his best skill on him, and the girls warn their master to be careful as that is his best skill, but their master smiles and tells them that he does not care and uses the powers of the spiritual laws to block his attacks. The girl immediately uses her powers to cause a casualty on the land, and the emperor orders that she must be killed, if not their land will suffer casualties. The girls begin to attack the emperor together, and they see that the young master has upgraded to the half-emperor level and become worried if he is not aware of the consequences. They think he has become a demon, but he explains to them that it is an ability he picked up while trying to strengthen himself from the secret realm. He notices that the Holy Land Emperor is charging towards him, and he tells the elder to protect the girl, and he decides to face the leader on his own. They begin to battle, and the young master begins to dodge the attacks from the emperor, and they both begin to battle each other, causing chaos in the surrounding area. The emperor sees that his Tanchi shrine would be destroyed if they become masters, and he plans on stopping them. He tries his best to attack the young master, and the young master notices that he has disappeared, making the emperor have a strike at him and weakening him. The emperor begins to feel satisfied as he has successfully stopped the young master and plans on attacking the girls. Suddenly he hears a voice from the hole that was dug by their battle, and he sees that the young master is not dead. The young master immediately jumps out from the hole, and the emperor becomes surprised at how he is able to survive an attack as powerful as that. The young master immediately sees that the water that disappeared from the pool turns out that it was stolen by him, and he sees that he is planning on using it to cause destruction to his shrine. The emperor then sends his men to deal with him, but his disciples come out to defend their master from the attacks of the emperor's servants. The emperor decides to kill the young master, seeing that he is able to summon creatures, and he plans that they will disappear once he is dead. The creatures summoned by the young master begin to attack the emperor, and he begins to wonder what they are. The young master then orders the girls to attack him, and he warns them to be careful. The young master notices that the emperor has escaped and sends the girls to go after him. At the Tanchi Shrine Forest, they begin to look for him, and the young master suddenly finds something strange as he sees that the Holy Lord is leading them somewhere. They stop at an entrance, and they begin to wonder why he came to such a place. The old elder tells them that only the Time Shillard can enter, and the young master then order the elder to open the door. The door opens, and the elder warns them to be careful when they come in. The Holy Lord notices they have come in, and he immediately calls to his ancestors for help as Tianqi is in trouble. The young master sees him and decides to attack him back. They begin to wonder where he is and look at the demon faces. He immediately begins to seek help from the ancestors, but they kill him and tell him to go to hell, as it will be the last good thing he will do for them. The young emperor becomes surprised and remains speechless. The ancestors then drain the Holy Lord and kill him, and one of them sees one of the girls and tries to take her, but the young master grabs the chain and tells him that he will not allow him to touch his sickle. The ancestor plans to absorb his powers, but sees that the young master is actually absorbing its powers, and it becomes surprised and asks him who he is. He tells the ancestor of the shrine that he has come to wipe out the shrine, and the ancestor begins to seek help from the other ancestors, seeing that he is too strong, and he is absorbing his power source. The other ancestors also try to help out, but he grabs their chains and begins to absorb their power. He tells them that their power is not enough to deal with him. They see that he has demonic powers and begin to beg for mercy, and the young master's disciples begin to wonder why their master has demonic power. He absorbs their energy and uses it to teach Limo a lesson, and tells them to come with him to make them know what made them in that manner. He also tells his people that he is sure that those ancestors were trapped by demonic things based on their confessions, and he decides to find out. They arrive at a room, and the master could see what is causing the burning of the supreme bone, and he sees that the corpse is a demon. The young master sees that the demon has been dead for 10,000 years, and he begins to wonder what it is still doing there. He decides to go and ask one of the ancestors, and he tells the ancestor to tell him everything he knows about that demon and threatens to kill him if he does not speak. The ancestor tells him about the demon and how it ended up in that position, which was what led him to the position he is in now. The young master then tells them that they were not sure they would meet him, and tells them that God is watching their every move, and they have gotten what they deserve. The young master sees that it is not good news for the fantastic world, and he uses his powers to try and find a lasting solution to the problem. Lin then asks Teva if their master is strong, but she tells her little sister that their master has always been strong. She tells her that their master can kill a sage of the body refining realm in a moment. Her other sister tells her that their master has reached the Shenting realm, and she will not be surprised if he killed the great emperor. She becomes happy that she can be with her master since she is protecting him, and he is protecting them. After an hour, their master continues to absorb the energy, and immediately tells them to leave as soon as he is done. The little one sees that there is no change in her master's cultivating level, but she can see that he is different. The young master then asks her if she is surprised, and he tells Yulong that she looks good in her wedding dress, as he has not had a chance to look at her because of his battle. The girls become surprised, as they have never seen their master in that way, and they also become jealous because he has not praised them before. He also apologizes to her, as he saw that he arrived late, and she must have suffered a lot in the Tanqi shrine. She tells him that seeing him is the best thing that has happened to her. He then promises her that he will never allow her to get bullied ever again. He sees that his system has not given him any points for seeing her, and he tells her to come and give him a hug. She becomes happy, and he continues to pat her, and until he is given a point by his system, and he sees that his cultivation speed has increased by 10 times, and he tells Yuling that she has to work hard to cultivate, and she promises him that she will try to catch up to her sisters. While leaving the shrine, he asks Yushin about them going to the Imperial Mausoleum, and he tells them that they should still go again and not tear it down. They become surprised at their master's decision and begin to wonder why he does not want them to tear it down, but continue to worship. They'd all see that he might have his own reason for saying so, and they decide to follow his orders. Outside the Tanqi shrine wall, the young master sees that the remaining prisoners have destroyed the rest of the shrine, and the girls ask him what they should do with the territory, as it is a great place with all kinds of resources, but they need to destroy it. The girls agree to it as Yulong was imprisoned there, and it will bring bad luck. She tells her master that she is going to destroy it, and he tells her to wait a few more days as they have a bigger fish to fry. Suddenly Yushin arrives and they cannot believe that she is there, and she tells them that their master asked her to come there. The master decides to get down to business, seeing they are all complete. At the central area of the shrine, the young master begins to use his ability to get as much as he can, and they begin to wonder what he is doing, and they begin to think he is in the state of cultivation again, and they see that he is planning on using his power to help them and level up. They suddenly realize that Tanqi has an underground spiritual vein, and they begin to see the reason it could prosper for a very long time. They see that it will help them activate their skills and help them boost their martial arts. The young master continues to cultivate and begins to wonder if he has hit a black wall. He continues to cultivate so as to use the demon bone to refine all the energy, and he finally becomes successful and sees that he has reached the level 1 saint realm, but begins to wonder about next time as he has used everything in the Tanki shrine in the pond. He suddenly sees a tribulation cloud and begins to wonder if one of his disciples will become an emperor because of him. He decides to let her do it, and she asks him if she should hold it down or break through somewhere else. She tells him that she does not want to hurt him because of the emperor's tribulation she brought. The master tells her not to hold it down, but she should do what she can and leave the rest of him, as it is a great opportunity for her. She jumps up into the air and thanks her master for taking her to where she is, as it was all his knowledge that helped her all the way. She plans to get through the 9 stages so as to become an emperor, but the young master sees that it is different, and she continues to cultivate the energy, and the young master sees that something is happening and begins to wonder what is going on with her. If you like this recap, do let me know in the comments, and obviously leave your likes too. Do not forget to share with your friends and subscribe. Above all, activate your notification bell so you don't miss the next recap when it drops. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.